Yeah, so like years ago, I talked about that on some of my very early work. I want to say probably like the first, I don't know, 30 or 40 videos, somewhere in there that I ever did on a different channel, not on TikTok, but on Old YT. And they're still there. But I talked about this kind of problem that exists within the school system where you have kids are you're born a natural scientist, right? Like that's how kids are. People are born with the desire to kind of learn about the world around them. That is automatic. That's instilled into you. That's sort of like hard code, and it takes schools to undo that. And so schools, they kind of create this illusion of what life is going to be like theoretically. And then when you get out there, I mean, and anybody who's ever gone to the school system, you know what I'm talking about. You get out and it's like, this isn't like what you guys thought. Well, of course it's not. The school systems are kind of like movies or TV, right? I mean, like how many, if you scroll TikTok long enough, you'll find, those guys who say, yeah, like there was that one that was going viral for a while. It was like, name something in movies that they get wrong that really annoys you, but everybody else, like, and there's like thousands and thousands and thousands of these stitches to this video because, people who are in certain industries will point out and go, dude, yeah, that's not even really possible to do that. Like, there's just no way. Like, there was this nurse that was talking about like things like head trauma, something just as simple as that like just even slight real world head trauma can, I mean, like turn you into that unfortunate boxer that kept getting rabbit hit in the back. I can't not remember his name, but I mean, it doesn't even take that much trauma to do it. And so where I'm going with that was just pointing out that, like, yeah, schools are designed to get young people to stop thinking and let somebody else do the thinking for them. That's what schools are designed to do. And it's a very clever device. It's very clever because it's sold to parents as like, look, hey, we can do this for you, and this will free your time up so that you can do other stuff. And most recently, it's like, oh, well, hey, we'll keep your kids even longer so that you can have you time. It's like, okay, but then why did you have kids, right? Anyway, so that, none of that withstanding, like that's what schools are designed to do. They're designed to take a perfectly normal, rational human being, because you are not born irrational. You are born, this is that emperor has no clothes story, right? We've all heard the story or read the story about the emperor has no clothes, right? The little kid who's like, oh my God, the emperor's naked. Like, yeah, that's because that's how little kids are. Little kids see the world at face value. So when, like for example, in the adult world, politicians lie to us all day long, and there's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of education, if you want to call it that pushes against our better judgment all the time, right? So we all know that they're lying, right? We all, like, and even a little kid would say he's lying or she's lying, like, you know what I mean? Like, it takes that's why they have kids for so long, and that's why they keep telling young people, oh, keep going to school, just keep going, just go back and get more education. It's not education that they're giving you in most of these cases. They're trying to get you to accept that you're the problem, not the system that is in front of you. Now, before a bunch of you, jump on the bandwagon and say, it's systemic. Yes, as with a lot of things, a lot of people get things right for the wrong reasons. But yes, you are kind of right. Yes, that there is a systemic problem. The systemic problem is a math problem. That's the problem. And years ago, once again, I think in my very first video I ever did, I explained this using a Fibonacci sequence of numbers, pointing out that that's the problem, is that when you have a math problem, every successive problem after that is going to be wrong. When you have incorrect math here, the rest of it doesn't matter. Which is where this question actually comes from, as I was talking about the actual hard physics. And this is a problem, and it's becoming a bigger and bigger problem, because the longer these kinds of things go, these systemic problems, for lack of a better term, the worse this is going to get for everyone, to the point where you will have people that they'll believe anything you tell them, but they won't trust anybody. And like everything basically falls apart after that. It's sort of like history. Knowing history isn't important. Knowing accurate history is critical. Okay, if you don't know accurate history, who knows? Like, and I not only myself. I mean, I know other professors have talked about this as well. That the history that we're taught could not possibly have led to the present in which we currently live. Right? Just see, we're taught all of this history, and it's like this doesn't match. Like, if this happened, then how did this happen? Like, this is becoming a problem, and it's because there's a lot of history that's left out. Remember, knowing accurate history is extremely powerful. In fact, it's probably one of, if not the most important thing that the most important power you can wield is the ability to omit something or to bend the truth slightly, historically speaking, or to massage the way that you want to put it, or to have just regular historical bias and a blind spot on a good day, right? I mean, because everybody has a blind spot. And so, yeah, but I mean, like, that's all that it takes, is just something that small, and then you're way off course. 2,000 years later, you're way off course, right? I mean, this is simple navigation. Any pilot, you know, out there, any of my fellow pilots out there, if you're off course a little bit, it doesn't make a big difference if you're only going, you know, a couple hundred miles. It makes a big difference if you're going a couple thousand miles. So, yeah. So this is where I'm coming from on this. So, yeah, schools, unfortunately, they teach kids to let other people do their thinking for them, which is very detrimental. It's something that, I mean, I constantly preach against. Like, I would want people to think for themselves and ask questions. Asking questions is critical. And, you know, I mean, you have but to go on the internet, any socialist media platform, and where someone will make a comment, I'll make a comment. I'll use myself as an example. I make a comment, and I'll have 50 comments of people making all kinds of crazy assumptions. You're a Republican. I nowhere have I ever said I'm a Republican. Nowhere. You're a left. I mean, like, I'm not kidding. Like, they'll make 50 different assumptions rather than ask any questions. It's something that can be solved by just asking a couple of simple questions, called the Socratic method. It's not taught anymore, unfortunately. Cross-examination isn't taught anymore. In fact, it's becoming a dying art. So, well, actually, it's not an art, I suppose. I guess technically cross-examination is a science. But yeah, I mean, this is the problem. And so, yeah, I mean, the only reason I'm somewhat rambling on this is just because, like, I mean, this comment is right. It is right. It blows my mind too. It disturbs me more that there are parents out there that are still demanding that their kids excel in these types of systems, right? So in other words, you're demanding that your child excel in a system that is designed to create not just mediocrity, but a race to the bottom. You're demanding your kids be the cream of the crap, the best of the worst. I mean, like that's that's what's happening. Rather than, you know, parents, you know, just saying, no, hey, listen, we're not doing this. And this is where parents have to ask questions. You know, like, for real, this is where parents, you know, like, if you're not up to speed on this, then, like, I mean, this means you have to educate yourselves. Now the thing is that educating adults is actually a lot faster if they want to learn. It's actually much quicker because you have something called context that you can gauge against, right? Kids don't have context, which is why you're so they're so easily manipulative or easily manipulated because of their malleability, right? Because of that, that's because they don't have context. Adults have context. They can pick stuff up actually much faster if they're so inclined. Anyway, yeah, that's there.